Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another lovely Friday morning here on the Outlaw Nation channel. That's right. It is time for Mornings with the Outlaw. We're going a little bit early this morning at 8 a.m. because I've got an interview later on at 9:30 a.m. With an actor from the UK, Craig Fairbrass. He's been in a number of projects, and it's exciting to get a chance to sit down with him for the deep cut and talk about his new film. It's called Villain. It's a pretty badass British gangster film, British crime film. And I want to say gangster film. It's a British crime thriller. I saw it for the first time last night. Really enjoyed it. Had a great time. Did some research on the guy. He seems like a pretty badass individual. So it's going to be fun to sit down with him and talk with him about everything involved in his career. But anyway, that's at 9:30 a.m. And that I'll be recording that. It's not going to be live, but I'll be recording that for a future episode of the Deep Cut. But this is Mornings with the Outlaw, and so much going on today. So much happening on this action-packed, or no, rather jam-packed and maybe action-packed episode of Mornings with the Outlaw. Thank you so much for joining me here. Please, if you want, swing that cursor button over, hit like on this thing. Let's start the likes immediately on this particular video. I have a feeling you're going to like it because so much of what we're talking about here, the first two stories, the two big stories that we're talking about here, is going to be a lot of fun to cover for for everybody. So I'm going to have a lot of fun with that. But the three big things that we got going on after we talk about the news is I've got Alex Marzoña coming on around 8:30 to come on and debut his new single. A lot of you really have enjoyed Alex's music over the years, and so he's got a new single. He reached out to me and he said, "Hey man, can I come and promote it on your show?" I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah, come on and let's talk a little bit of movies and talk about your song." Also, I'm going to talk about the new shows that we finally hammered down last night for the patrons. So if you're going to be a member of the Patreon, it's right there, www.patreon.com/John Rocha. You'll get a bunch of new shows that are coming just for the patrons. And on top of the two hangouts that we do every week, there'll be one new show every week for you all to enjoy, and there'll be random movie watch-alongs that I will do and post whenever I'm in the mood to sit down and watch a watch-along movie and record a track for it. That's part of it, but we'll be announcing that a little bit later. But the big announcement, of course, is also near the end of the show. Action Army's own Alex Shashek will be stopping by. We're going to have a nice conversation and have maybe a little bit of announcement ourselves about her involvement with the Outlaw Nation. So looking forward to all of that happening here today. So if you haven't subscribed to the Outlaw Nation before we even start, please hit that subscribe button below. Give it some love. Get us closer to 15,000 as we march towards 20,000 subscribers. I would personally appreciate that. It'd be very kind of you to do so. And of course, the Streamlabs and the Super Chats are open. I think there's a Streamlab or a Super Chat that already came through. Yeah, Larry Lace. There you go. Good morning to the most amazing MTS champion who has ever lived. Oh, that's very kind, Larry. I appreciate that. So, to me, that's Dan Murrow, but I appreciate your very kind words in my direction, Larry. It means a lot. Thank you so much. And thanks for joining me. So many who already are in here. Wow, it's a lot of people already. How many we got here? Up to, almost 50 people joining me live. I'm sure it'll grow as we go along here. Let me say hi to everybody before we start. Haskell 420, good to see you. Andrew G, what's up? What's up? Andrew G, well, we did it, guys. We made it again. Another Friday. Good job, everybody. Danny Coast is in here. Keith Krabenhoft is in here. Good morning. MK Songbird, good morning. Christopher Yao is in here. Christian Stileski, good morning. Ben Wellington, good to see you, my man. Christopher, I already said that. Christopher Yao. Let's see who else we got. Sean Barreto, good morning, Sean. Good to see you. Great conversations last night with the patrons on the Hangout. Sean was in there. Andrew G, Andrew Hale. Suge Knight, Wiley Todd, Ben Wellington was in there as well. Uber C00, good to see you. Really appreciate you taking the time. Corey Cameron, what's up? Happy Friday. TGIF to all you out there who are like, oh God, you made it to Friday. Congratulations. Matthew Hannon in here. Drunken Prayer, what's going down? Let's see. Jake Yacovetta's up in here reminding you all as well. Streamlabs. Super chats are nice, but YouTube takes 33%, and I don't see that money for a month. So Streamlabs is more immediate, and it's right here for you to send in your support or send in your comments or questions that you want me to answer here on the show. So yeah, please, Streamlabs and Super Chats, that's the way to go. Help keep the lights on in this place. Oh, and I should say one more thing. I really should say one more thing. Yesterday was such an incredible surprise. I came back from going to get some lunch because I will occasionally leave my house to grab a little takeout just to support the local businesses. And when I came back, I had like 7 or 8 Amazon packages from people who have sent me stuff off my wish list, the Outlaw Nation wish list. And I can't tell you how overwhelming that was. So many incredibly kind words were left there from people, and they sent me some stuff that I'm just excited to dive into, and stuff that will help the Outlaw Nation grow a little bit more as well. So you can find the wish list. I put it up there on my Twitter. It's also up if you're a patron. I put it up there on one of my posts. If you want to send something through, I've got some kind of big items on there, but also smaller items as well. So if you all want to send anything, you can. And it just was overwhelming, and some really nice words going along with these gifts. So thank you all so much for the incredible bounty of riches that were dropped in my lap yesterday. You all are, the Outlaw Nation is so great, and I'm honored to lead it. I'm honored to be a part of it. I'm honored to be a part of it with you all. All right, let's jump into real quick. Let's talk about the people who have signed up for the Outlaw Nation here in the last 24 hours. Thank you to Luke Scott Cards, Goji Raking 1, Carnage 14, Shauna LeMay, Kevin Samaro, Charles Mantilla, and Mike Wesley. Thank you all so much for subscribing to the Outlaw Nation Patreon. Really appreciate, or the Outlaw Nation show, rather. Really appreciate it. Let's keep going here. Let's see. Manny Gonzalez is up in here. Andrew Hale, good to see you. Sorry. There's the trash cans are out in the back in the alley right now. So we'll get into that. Right there, Larry Lee says, thoughts on the new draft. I like it. Christian called me the day before, or the night before he was going to make the announcement. He said, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I said, I like it. I think it's a great way to go about it. It's really smart. It's fun. It's different. People were complaining that the Finstock Exchange had all 4 belts guaranteed into one faction, so they felt it was an unfair advantage. I mean, I don't know. I've seen sports. The Yankees get the stock, the roster every year. The Patriots don't do that necessarily. That's the thing. Just because you can stack a roster rather, doesn't mean that roster will bring you titles and bring you victories and whatever. So I guess he had to address the complaints from other factions and other managers. But here's how you destroy it: win matches. That's the difference. Win matches. That's always the difference. And just because you look like a juggernaut in March doesn't mean you're a juggernaut by the time we hit December. So, you never know with things like that. We've got a bunch of tournaments rolling through here too that'll probably change the course of history and change the course of who's on top, who's not on top by the end of the year. Who's on top and who's on bottom now, Bobby? Who's on top? I'm Max. What's up? And next big rap star. Whoop, 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 whoop. What is going down, man? Good to see you in here as well. Yeah, I got a lot of energy this morning, so I'm going all over the place. Muko Muyamba, Nathan Arredondo, good to see you. Movies That Matter with the Viking, hello. Drunken Prayer, hello. Zeno Hour, hello. Darth Niner, hello. Vanya Kostiak, hello. Good to see you, Vanya. Always good to see your face in here. Let's see. Solskjaer 1999. I guess it's a reference to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Manchester United, when they beat Bayern Munich in the last few seconds in the Champions League final. One of the first Champions League finals I ever watched. So shout out to Solskjaer 1999. All right. Let's see here. Is someone complaining? Oh, no. I was only a couple of minutes late, guys. I was only a couple of minutes. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Jake. Appreciate it. Jake putting up the Outlaw, the wish list. There it is. There's the Outlaw Nation wish list. If you want to go write it down, I'll leave it up for a couple of minutes. If you want to write it down, see what I've got on there, and people can send stuff. If you don't, I'm not asking you to send stuff. I want to make that very, very clear. This is something Sean Barreto and I went back and forth about and round and round about, because I don't like to ask for anything. But, people have been pushing me to create an Amazon wish list because people want to kind of help the Outlaw Nation or want to show their support or thanks for the years of content and also for the content that I've been doing for the last few months here on the actual Outlaw Nation channel. So I put it up. But in no way am I asking you all to do anything or buy anything or get anything. If you would like to, it's up. There it is. That's all. I'm very weird about that kind of stuff, to be very flat out honest and vulnerable with you all. All right. Let's see. Cameron Hainsworth is in here as well. All right. Enough of chat. Enough of the jibber jabber. Let's jump into the main one of the main topics that we're talking about today. And that is the big news that dropped yesterday that Luca Guadagnino, yes, Luca Guadagnino, the director of Call Me By Your Name and a number of other films like the Suspiria remake, the recent Suspiria remake, has been tapped to direct Scarface. a lot of directors have been tapped for this one, including Antoine Fuqua. So he's not the only director that has been involved in this project, but he is the most current director that is involved right now at this point. He's been tapped to direct the reboot of Scarface. It will be based off of the Coen brothers script. That's what they're going with, the most recent script that Joel and Ethan Coen wrote, with earlier drafts by Gareth Dunnett Alsoser, Jonathan Herman, and Paul Attanasio. It'll be produced by Dylan Clark for his Dylan Clark Productions. Scott Stuber will executive produce along with Marco Marabito. The story, we've seen it, the original was in the 1920s, I think, or 1930s, and then you had 1932, yes, and then you had the 1983 film, which of course is the iconic one with Al Pacino that everyone remembers. But this is such an interesting choice, right? Because he just did a remake of a horror film with Suspiria, and so now he's stepping back into the frame, or not back into the fold, rather, of another remake. And people are saying like, oh, well, this is the closest thing to his tentpole picture. A number of sites are saying that, and I think that's true. It's the closest thing he'll come to a studio picture. But what is Luca Guadagnino's taste or approach to Scarface, right? It's going to be set apparently in Los Angeles, from what I'm reading here. Let's see. Yeah. So, the new movie will be set in Los Angeles. And there have been a lot of rumors for casting as well. Like Michael B. Jordan's been rumored, Oscar Isaac has been rumored, Adam Driver has been rumored, even Tom Hardy has been rumored as a possible lead for this film. Antoine Fuqua was involved for a little bit of time, but he is the most recent one. He has left the project, and now Guadagnino is coming on. As we said, it's with off the Coen brothers script. This has been going on since 2011. Apparently, there have been directors coming in and out of this thing. It's almost like The Flash, right? You're hearing directors coming in and out of this thing, or Gambit in and out of this thing, and they're leaving for whatever creative differences or issues with story development or scripts or whatever. So a number of reasons why they would leave. But I find this to be fascinating with Guadagnino because, I mean, his films don't necessarily lend themselves to a violent situation. Certainly Call Me By Your Name, which was an incredibly beautiful film, does not. And of course, he's working on the sequel for that one as well. And then you've got Suspiria, which does have a little bit of like performance blood or whatever in that remake of that film. It wasn't my cup of tea, to be honest with you, and neither was the original. So it's just a little too black box theater for me. So I'm not 100% on board with that. But I like the idea of Luca. I mean, he's Italian. Remember, then look, I know Scarface is not Italian in this particular, the most recent version, the 1983 version, obviously he's Cuban. In the 1932 version, he's a gangster. I don't know if he's an Italian gangster necessarily. So I wonder how he's going to update it in Los Angeles. What's this? Is it East LA? Are we talking higher end stuff? Is it another immigrant? Is it Mexican? Is it a person who comes over from the border? Which of course could be dangerous, right? Because then that slides into that territory of like, see, you're glorifying the cartels, or you're glorifying the fact that Mexican people come over as immigrants and they can become drug cartel leaders. Like, so there's all of that, that could be an issue that could be popped up. But to be honest with you, for some of you don't remember, in 1983, when the original Scarface came out, we were also dealing with immigration and the stuff going on from other Latin countries coming over to this country. So as the son of immigrants, I know exactly what was happening. I was very aware of some of the comments that were being made by schoolmates, and also some of the comments that were being made in our community where we grew up in that small town in Virginia about us being immigrants, Spanish immigrants or Latino immigrants. So that kind of stuff was certainly something to look at when the film was coming out. Of course, Pacino is not Hispanic. He's of Italian descent. So this would be interesting. Do you cast Pacino as like the Frank character, as a kind of homage, or do you completely cut it clean and let it be its own thing and create your Scarface out of these possibilities? I don't know. Not much. I don't think not much has been released about the script other than it's set in LA. They don't necessarily have strong story details of it that they've released. But but I like this combo. I like Joel Ethan Coen, great history in the movies. Guadagnino is an interesting director. I wonder if Tilda Swinton will have a role in this movie, because Tilda has been in his last few films. So to have her be a part of this, what would she play? Would she play a DEA agent? Would she play, I don't know, a rival gang leader? Would she play Frank, the character of Frank? Would she play it? I don't know. So it'd be curious to see if Tilda's got a role in this thing. But Guadagnino, obviously, such a pedigree already. And I think the Meaning of podcast did a sit down with Paul Oyama to talk about Luca Guadagnino and his films there. So that is fascinating as well. He's also working on a number of things. So this is, throw this on top of his plate. He has written and directed We Are Who We Are, which is an 8-episode limited series for HBO that stars Chloe Sevigny, Kid Cudi, Alice Braga, Jack Dylan Grazer, Spencer Moore II, and a number of other actors in this thing. He's also in post-production for Salvatore Ferragamo, The Shoemaker of Dreams, which is a documentary film revolving around Salvatore Ferragamo. He's also serving as the producer on Born to Be Murdered, which is directed by Ferdinando Cito Filomarino, which I think is the guy he was dating, and he's been an AD on his films. So I think he's producing that film for him, and it stars Alicia Vikander and John David Washington from Ballers and from Black Klansman. He's also attached, as I said earlier, to direct the sequel to Call Me By Your Name called Find Me, with Timothy Chalamet, Armie Hammer. Michael Stuhlbarg is returning as well. He's also produced an upcoming documentary from Michael Dweck and Gregory Kershaw called The Truffle Hunters, and he's developing a remake of The Lord of the Flies at Warner Brothers. So a lot on his plate, and I always wonder why you attach someone to a project who's doing 20 other things and expect them to see it through. I don't know. It's very weird to me. I'd rather have a director who's got a completely clean slate. He's finished all his projects up, and he or she is looking for the next thing. And that's another thing too. Hold on. I think it would have been fun to have a female director do a Scarface remake. That would have been awesome. What is the female point of view on something like Scarface? You could still have a male lead, or F it, you could have a female lead and explore that idea of a woman becoming a drug cartel leader, right? I mean, I think we saw something like that on USA. I think it was called Queen of the South. I think that's what it was called. And I think Alice Braga was the lead in that one. So you could explore Scarface from a female point of view. That could be very interesting. Some of you ladies who are watching, I'm sure you can attest, you can be quite brutal when you need to be. Just like men, they can be quite brutal when they need to be. So I think that would be fascinating to explore as well. They have a female point of view on the story of Scarface. Very, very interesting to explore that possibility. So we'll see. I'm excited. I like Luca Guadagnino. I like what he did with Call Me By Your Name. I like his previous Italian work. If you haven't watched any of his earlier Italian films, do yourself a favor and go and watch those. I just randomly watched one because I was in the mood for an independent film one afternoon here in LA, and I went in and saw the one with Ralph Fiennes and Tilda Swinton. Very interesting film, very well done script as well. So there's the, you can go and explore him. It isn't just Antonio Nini and Fellini. There are some great Italian directors that are working nowadays and creating like really incredible modern classics nowadays. So do yourself a favor and get educated on those directors and go see their films and expand your mind about the medium of cinema and what is possible when you see it in the hands of international directors or directors from other countries to see what they can do with the piece. Oh, I'm a little bit bright. Hold on, I'm a little bit bright. I can never tell with the sun sometimes. So let me darken myself up a little bit. So I apologize to you all. There we go. Is that better? Yeah, there we go. That's a little bit better. All right. Yeah, it's always the lighting in the morning, but eventually I will be getting, probably this weekend, I will be getting some black covers so that the light from the outside isn't affecting the light here on the inside. So, and maybe I need to hit the aperture priority a little bit. There we go. That's a little bit better. Let's increase the brightness. All right. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. All right, cool. Sorry about that. I'm on top of this kind of stuff. All right. And the next topic, let's move on to our next topic. And that is the interview that Jerry Bruckheimer gave recently talking about Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean 6. He was not fully committal he was non-committal. That's what I would say. He was non-committal to the idea of Johnny Depp making an appearance in Pirates of the Caribbean 6. It's currently in development right now at Disney after it was announced back in 2018, which follows the last film, which was Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. That one had Depp coming back to reprise his role, Jeffrey Rush coming back, the ageless Jeffrey Rush coming back to play Captain Barbossa, and included Javier Bardem, Brenton Thwaites, and Kaya Scodelario there. It didn't do well in terms of the critics, but it made almost $800 million worldwide. So it's incredible, the Pirate series, what it does. You can bash it to pieces, but it makes its money. It makes its money. And of course, Depp was involved with some stuff with, personal stuff with Amber Heard. There were accusations back and forth about that relationship. And some people accused him of being violent on set. A couple of people here have there been accusations in that. But he's been on this thing since 2003. He was nominated for for a Best Actor Oscar off the first film. And Bruckheimer, in this interview, he said, the one Pirate sequel we're developing right now, we're not sure quite what Johnny's role is going to be. So we're going to have to see. So that's essentially saying the door is wide open one way or the other. We're not sure. We want to see. And look, Disney's smart about this stuff. They're going to wait to see what the winds of public the winds of the public opinion is about Johnny Depp before they fully commit to putting him in the Pirates of the Caribbean 6 movie. And it makes sense. All the backlash that J.K. Rowling, David Ayer, and Warner Brothers took for casting Johnny Depp in Fantastic Beasts certainly is a harbinger of what may come if you cast him again in the Pirates of the Caribbean. But then again, 5 came out right when people weren't sure about Johnny too. I think the accusations were starting to build at the time, and then 5 came out, and yeah, the critics didn't like. I didn't mind it. I thought it's a Pirates film. I thought it was fine for what it was. It wasn't terrible. It was fine for what it was. I just don't think it had the magic that you're used to seeing from that series. You miss Orlando Bloom, you miss Keira Knightley. They do make an appearance in the movie, but you miss them, and that chemistry is tough to replicate. And this is very interesting as well, because in 2018. Disney chief of film production, was it Dan Bailey? I think it is. Sean Bailey. Sorry, Sean Bailey confirmed that Deadpool screenwriters Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick were currently working on a reboot of this film without Depp returning to the role that launched him. Sean Bailey said in Hollywood Reporter in 2018. He said to the Hollywood Reporter, "We want to bring in a new energy and vitality. I love the movies, but part of the reason Paul and Rhett are so interesting is that we want to give it a kick in the pants." And that's what I've tasked them with. I just interviewed earlier this year. I interviewed Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick for the Zombieland 2 Blu-ray event. Incredibly awesome guys, fun guys, certainly understand what they're writing. So it would be action combined with humor, which they were able to do in Deadpool, they're able to do in Zombieland. So why wouldn't they bring that to Pirates of the Caribbean? The thing is, I wonder if Disney is of two minds, in that we think Johnny Depp can sell the movie. And if we replace Johnny Depp, we have to replace him with someone who will put butts in seats, right? Because it's a massive tentpole franchise for Disney. And so why not be in a situation where you can get the right person in position to take Johnny Depp's spot and put butts in seats and get the millions of dollars that you need to get for a film like this? Because these films cost money. They cost money to make. So, a lot of money to make. So you want to recoup that money and turn a profit. But certainly it feels like Disney is of two minds. They're going to wait to see how people react to the fact that Johnny Depp might still be involved in this thing. And then I think they're waiting to see how this whole thing with Amber Heard, all this all plays out. Listen, you can't eliminate that from the equation. That is an important piece of the equation, his relationship with Amber Heard and how the public views it and feels about it and how they want to react to it, or put it, or maybe it deters them from going to a movie. So that's the kind of thing that they have to kind of gauge at this point and figure out what they want to do. But this is very interesting words from Bruckheimer, saying that he's keeping it wide open. And look, this is on the heels also of what he said about National Treasure 3, right? He said National Treasure 3 is certainly coming. It's in development. Nicolas Cage, I want him to be a part of it. Cage has no idea, or said in recent comments he had no idea there was a sequel coming. And then he said, we're also working on a Disney Plus version of National Treasure with a younger crew. So what does that mean? That means that they're trying to move Nicolas Cage out and kind of do a soft reboot of National Treasure. Maybe they're trying to do a soft reboot of Pirates of the Caribbean without necessarily moving Johnny Depp out or the character Jack Sparrow out of the equation. So maybe they're just kind of putting their feet on both sides of the one, one foot on one side of the fence, another foot on the other side of the fence, and just straddling until the winds of public opinion blow them one way or the other in this situation. Let's see. Yeah, he also revealed in this interview that the film script is still in the draft stage and that Disney has yet to see it. Wernick and Reese did leave the project in 2018. Oh no, in 2019, rather, last year. And then the scripting duties were headed to Craig Mazin and Ted Elliott. Now, Craig Mazin, you may know if you're a big fan of TV, because he created Chernobyl for HBO. So that's a completely different point of view. There's like almost no humor in that series. So, and then Elliott did the original Pirates film, but also did The Lone Ranger. So that doesn't necessarily strike you with a lot of confidence for sure. Let's see if there's anything else I want to cover on this. Yeah, I mean, this would be interesting too for Johnny Depp, because if he comes back and he's good in the film and people like him in the film, then that kind of helps to redeem him a little bit. Listen, we welcomed Mel Gibson back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Hollywood has a short memory. And the fans do too. Those of us who are in the bubble can judge and throw slings and arrows, but most of the fans outside the bubble, they don't care. They just want to see good entertainment, and they'll go see good entertainment if it's presented in a certain way. That was Hacksaw Ridge, fantastic stuff from Hacksaw Ridge there from Mel Gibson. And people wanted him back. So maybe with Depp, it'll all depend if he comes back. Because that Fantastic Beasts sequel was absolute trash. So will the third one, because they're taking so long to make it, will that speak positively about Johnny Depp and his involvement in a franchise again? And will that help the public feel like, okay, I do want to see more of Johnny? Because look, whatever happens off the camera, and none of us were there. None of us saw what was happening. Certainly we've seen the videos. We've heard the reports, both sides accusing people of each other of some terrible things. But none of us were there. So we don't know what actually happened. But, don't forget that Johnny was a hell of an actor for quite some time, for a number of decades, and didn't come into the mainstream fold until he accepted the Jack Sparrow part. But even when he did it, he approached it from an independent film point of view, because that's what the films he was making. Gilbert Grape is an independent film. There's all these early Johnny Depp films. What's it? Zoe. Was it Benny and June? Oh, Benny and June. Another one. These are all like independent Johnny Depp films. He was laying the groundwork for his ability. Donnie Brasco, I guess you could argue, was another one that was probably closer. But even that film doesn't feel like a standard mainstream gangster film. It has more of a artistic approach to it, or independent feel approach to it. And yes, you cast Al Pacino, but it's not Al Pacino in Scarface full glory. It's Al Pacino as an older, kind of heavy set dude who's wearing the big jacket, and he's kind of a schlub in the world of the mafia. So even that film wasn't necessarily a mainstream, big time film. So this is the thing about Johnny. Johnny always approaches things from an independent point of view in his mind, independent film point of view in his mind. So I think Fantastic Beasts hasn't worked for me seeing him in that film, because I feel like he's doing what you're supposed to do for a mainstream film instead of bringing his own artistic sensibilities to that character. But once again, it's all about public opinion. Do people not like what happened? Do people believe Amber Heard more than they believe Johnny Depp? That's got to factor into it, and that could affect things down the road. So we'll see. I would like to see Johnny do it maybe one more time as a farewell thing, or maybe as a small scene, one part, and just kind of a goodbye, and then he moves on from it, because it's 2020. He's been doing the character for 17 years at this point. By the time the film gets done, if it gets done, it'll probably be 2022. He'll have done the character for over 2 decades. So by that point, you're just like, well, why? Or almost 2 decades, rather. You're like, well, why? Enough is enough at that point. And, how much of you end up being Barbosa, I guess. You could actually slide into the Jeffrey Rush place and become the older captain who comes in occasionally acting crazy and doing whatever and messing with the main protagonist of the movie. That could be interesting, where you turn Johnny into the villain of the movie. Maybe fans would be interested in that. I don't know. Just something to think about. But Bruckheimer being non-committal, I think, is them playing both sides of the fence, being like, well, we're going to see what the reboot. If we like the reboot, we don't need Johnny, and we feel like it's testing better in terms of like the idea. They'll drop articles, they'll give interviews where they allude to a reboot. if there's positive reactions to it, great. But there was, when it was initially announced that Johnny might not be a part of this in 2018, there were a bunch of signature campaigns that came out to try to get Johnny back on the film. So yeah, there's defenders on both sides of the fence. So we'll see how this all plays out. All right. Anyway, let's see if I've got any Streamlabs or Super Chats I need to address here in the chat before we jump forward. I think there were a couple maybe that came through here. Oh yeah. Nathan Arredondo says, have you heard the rumor about Karen Gillan possibly being eyed to take over as the new lead in the Pirates movie? Yes, I have. She's supposed to be, I think, the redheaded, the one you see in the old Pirates ride. She was, for lack of a better term, she was the redheaded wench, I think she was. And I think she was a prostitute, so to speak, a lady of the night in that ride. It wasn't overtly said, but it was implied. But because they're changing that character for the new ride now at Disney, there's rumors that that's who Karen Gillan would play, the new version of this character, which is a badass pirate there. So I'd be down for it. I love Karen Gillan. She is the best. J-Dog says, fun fact, 1983 had the most R-rated releases ever. Okay, going back to the Scarface story. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate it. And that makes sense. 1983 was a bit of a crazy year, politically and entertainment-wise. All right, any Streamlabs have come through? All right, Andrew G. Whether the films are good or bad, Depp has always been my favorite part of those films. I'm not sure a Pirates movie without him may do as well as they would want. He should be part of the next one, supporting the new female lead that's rumored. Right. So that's how you could go. Like I was saying with Scarface, you could go the lead with the Pirates of the Caribbean, make it a woman. And why not? With Karen Gillan, I think Johnny Depp and her would have fantastic chemistry. Andrew G. says, waves hand in front of Rocha. You will release the Jedi Way today. Yes, I will be releasing my Star Wars show very soon. I'm sorry there's been some delays on that, but I'm trying to get it right. And, having Dan Murrow walk into the fray was a bit intimidating for me initially. And so it kind of helped me up my game, what the public needs to see and wants to see. That's the show, the Jedi Way, the new Star Wars show. That will be dropping very, very soon. I might even do 2 episodes this weekend so I can drop them next week, kind of make up for the time that I'm supposed to drop them sometime this week. So, all right, anyway, let's move on to one of my first guests coming on the show today. I'm really excited to welcome him to the show. He is a guy I've gotten to know through the Schmodown, a guy whose balls I have busted mercilessly at times. He's one of the sweetest dudes I've ever met. He's one of the most talented gentlemen I've ever met, and one of the most patient. I've never seen him lose his temper, and that's dealing with the Schmodown, the backstage production stuff of Schmodown. Never once. He's helped us like way at the beginning. He was doing slices. He was doing all kinds, working for the Patreon, and that is the great Alex Marzoña. You see him there with Christian Harloff. He is coming on the show now to hang out with me and debut his new single that we are going to play about a minute of in just a second. But let's bring him on now. Alex, how are you, my man? How's it going?
I'm great. How are you, Rocha?
I'm talking nonstop for 30 minutes. This is a lot, and that's why I'm constantly drinking water. How are you feeling? What's going on with you, man?
Going good. I just released a song today, and I've been hanging in there, watching a ton of movies, especially on Criterion Channel. I just subscribed to that, and it's amazing. I'm catching up on so many French New Wave movies, all the classics that I missed. So, are you competing? Is that why you're watching these movies, or are you just in the mood to watch these movies because you got time and we're all self-isolating? It's more of the latter, yeah. Okay. Just because I love seeing what current filmmakers do to honor that, and what influences they use to in their films. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, I find that very educational. Also, I envy you because I remember being you, and it's one of the best parts of becoming a cinephile is discovering a new movement of movies, right? The French New Wave, the Cahiers du Cinema stuff that they've got there. Right. There's so much to discover when you walk into the Dogma stuff. There's so much to discover when you walk into new movements of film, and you got all these new directors you're exposed to. You may not like all of it, but it increases your vocabulary about cinema. And your appreciation of the medium if you venture out past America into other directors and other countries' directors. So French is fantastic. Are you Truffaut, or what are you getting into right now? I just watched My Night at Maud's, so I'm doing the Six Moral Tales right now. Right. I finished the Antoine Doinel series from Truffaut. I just love they're just having conversations most of the time, and it's just so entertaining. Yeah, Breathless is still my favorite French film. Of course, that one, just because
it's so interesting. It's still topical. It still works today. Like if you listen to the dialogue between those two, or read the dialogue, obviously, it still works today. So yeah, it's great to hear you walking into the French stuff. I appreciate that. Badly about you, dude. So what's the name of this song, and what inspired you to write it?
So this song is called Cherry Blossom, and basically the inspiration was I just wanted to write to a theme. It came off of that, and I chose Cherry Blossom because I was supposed to go to Tokyo back in the end of March.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and unfortunately, of course, with everything that's happening, I had to cancel that. So I wrote it back in February before everything started to shut down, and it just basically came up. I wrote about nature and like the ephemerality of, you know, cherry blossoms of love, and made it really personal. So I hope that that message came off, and like, is this feeling fleeting? Like this feeling of love? Like, you know, do I really feel this way? Will I really feel this way? And about like, will we really work? That kind of thing. Right. So I connected that to nature a lot.
Let me ask you, interesting. Did you adjust the lyrics, adjust the style of the music post coronavirus or post the cancellation? Because obviously you're writing it before the stay-at-home orders were handed down. So did that adjust your approach to it musically, or approach to it lyrically?
I think lyrically, yeah, because I was I wanted to write that in Tokyo.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And it be it like, you know, enjoying nature and just really appreciating the beauty of it. But after not being able to see it, it's kind of like I'm kind of seeing it from a outside point of view, and it kind of connected that way thematically. Like, oh, do I really know this girl? Will this really work? Do I feel this? Do I really truly feel this way? Right. Essentially.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. And where is this in your oeuvre of work? Like, where is, like, have you released albums? Have you released CDs? Or are you just releasing songs? How are you approaching this in your music career right now?
So right now I'm just doing a bunch of singles, just want to get content out there. I released a single last month that was more coronavirus like centered. It was called Crisis. And it's obviously there's a little bit more connection there.
It wasn't called Wear Your Mask, You Asshole.
Oh no, it really should have done that. Next song. I got you, next song. And so, yeah, just releasing a lot of singles now just to have music out there. It's easier to churn those out. Right. And hopefully by the end of the year, I'll have at least a few songs to package. Okay. In an album, yeah. All
right. Well, let's take a listen to it now for about a minute, and then we'll cut it. And you might see us on the edges, but listen to the song here. I couldn't get a 1280 by 720 a YouTube adaptation to put this video up, but we'll listen to about a minute of it. And while we're doing that, if you haven't hit the like button on this episode, please swing your cursor button over, hit that like, and then send in some comments, send in some Streamlabs or Super Chats that you want to ask Alex about. He's going to be on until about 9 o'clock, around 9 o'clock. So send in your Streamlabs or send in your Super Chats to ask a question, any question you want to ask to Alex Marzoña. But without further ado, let's listen to Cherry Blossom now.
Think I tried a little too hard. Did I go a little too far? Did I settle for a rent? I love your heart. Well, the sun was always setting on us, spanning distance would tear us apart. Did the orchid lose all of its petals? Patiently racing time, testing my metal. I pushed the pace, but even still to this day, all I could see is your face, and it's just picturesque as the cherry blossoms, pretty as a walk in a park. Is there a paintbrush shining through your window? Do you get light from the stars? Did we meet in the wrong season? Well, before the flowers want to bloom? Or was I a fool? I couldn't figure out if I could ever change your mind or accept the truth and feel the way that you do. Like a cloud in the sky. Are you walk in the park? Is there a twinkle shining through your window? Do you get light from the stars? Did we meet in the wrong season? But before the flowers were to bloom.
I think that's a good place to stop. Wow. Alex, wow. Honestly.
Yeah, thank you, Rocha. Thank you for playing that. Yeah.
This is one of the most musically mature singles you've done.
Yeah.
Honestly, and it's just not a criticism because everyone's on their journey to, and they get better and better as they keep doing it. So Lord knows, go back to 2 years ago when I was hosting a show. I'm way better now. Mm-hmm. It's that kind of thing. And your music, this song feels the most musically complex, like the most musically complex one you've done. Is that true?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm using a lot more different chords. I'm making sure that dynamically it fits the theme. So that's what I focus on a lot more now, rather than just trying to make it sound cool,
Right. What are some of the instruments that you used on this one that maybe you haven't used before? And are you playing all the instruments or do you have a band? Yeah,
I'm playing all the instruments on this one. All the drums are technically programmed, so it's we're just using a lot of good sounds. I put everything in on a program, and it churns out those sounds. Keys I'm using, my keyboard, my guitar, bass. Actually, Christian Rubalcaba's bass. He was
nice.
generous enough to lend me that for a long time. Yeah, and at the beginning, that's actually that's a computerized harp. It's what that is playing is I researched Cherry Blossom, and there's like a Japanese folk song called Sakura, and I interpolated that into the beginning and the end of the song just for thematic resonance.
Right.
And I'm very proud of the song, and I'm very glad that you love it. So
yeah, you're getting a lot of strong reactions here from people. Awesome. Yay. Alex, Danny Coach, not bad. Nice job, Alex.
Thanks, Danny.
Ohab Cap says that's really dope, Alex. Jared Sapper says I legit feel like that could be on the radio right now. Reginald Brown giving you some love as well. Alex is a rocker, rock on. Even Jake sliding in, giving you a little bit of love on that. And Jake is a worldwide renowned rap artist, so he would know what musically works and what doesn't. So, and if you haven't heard Jake Yacovetta's rap song, please do find it somewhere.
Check that out.
Where can people get this single and get more exposure to your music? Where can they do that?
Yeah, I've got all my music on my YouTube page. I got it all on Spotify. Just search Marzoña. That is my artist name over there. Cherry Blossom, my song last year from Enya. My song from last year called Enya, which is my first single back. So SoundCloud, where else? Apple Music, Tidal, if anybody uses that still. So
Tidal, yeah, I remember Tidal.
Anywhere you can find music.
So just search Alex Marzoña with that Enya there for
just
the
Marzoña.
And they'll find you. Oh, just Marzoña. Just Marzoña. You're just going with the last name. I appreciate that. So where are you on? Alex Shashek said, it's gold. It's gold. And a lot of people are already saying they want to collaborate with you. How can people reach out to you to collaborate? Are your DMs open on Twitter? Or how are you, if they wanted to email you or get in touch with you, do you have an agent or a publicist or someone like that? How does it work for you?
No agent or publicist just yet. But Twitter DMs, hit me up. Instagram as well. They're at the bottom right there. I don't know if I'm pointing to it correctly, but there it is.
There it is. Do you have the Marzoña? Do you have the Enya on? I don't see the Enya on. So you don't have the Enya on your Twitter or Instagram.
Yeah, don't forget the Enya. But apparently you can't do it on the internet, on the browsers.
There you go. There you go. I was just about to give Jake a little bit of crap, but no, he got it right. All right, I appreciate that. And where can people buy? So you're saying they can find the song? Can they buy the song at those places as well?
They can buy it on iTunes and my Bandcamp. But honestly, I just want people to listen to it. I want people to hear it and really, hopefully, connect with the song.
Yeah. Ben Waddington says those drum programs sound great, man. I've used some in my music, but those toms sounded truly organic.
My producer has some great sounds, so he's doing well.
Do you produce this do you do this all yourself? Nobody else is involved in this process when you create these songs?
I have a producer I've worked with for 11 years now.
Okay.
He basically what I do is I create all the instruments, I put them all into this master file, send it off to him. He changes some of the drum sounds and mixes it. So in that way, we are co-producers.
Nice.
On it,
Nice.
yeah.
Okay, so if people want to go and find you, that's where they're going to go and find you with Mars there on Twitter and on Instagram. I got you for another 10 minutes. Rachel Silvestrini saw that video, was amazing.
Hey, Rachel.
Right?
Rachel. She's my roommate. Rachel's over there.
That's right. You all were practicing social distancing on that throwdown match. I saw that.
Oh, definitely.
Where did you come up with the idea for that video? Because it's a beautifully laid out video with it. It's not overwhelming with the cherry blossoms. It's just there to give you a hint that is what the song is about. And then you write, like, I've seen you do stuff on poster board for the Schmodown. Now to see it come in full circle for here in the video, who came up with that idea, and what was it like to shoot that so quickly?
So it was actually supposed to be a projector video. Well, like I was going to be against this wall, and I had a projector shooting at me with cherry blossoms falling.
Yeah.
I tested it out. It did not look right. It was like a really bad green screen effect.
Yeah.
And so me and Rachel were actually just talking about it, and we ended up deciding that it should be like writing out like a letter. And so I had that idea to basically shoot myself writing. And it all just came from that. And it was that quick, like that much of a pivot worked. And I'm so happy with how it turned out.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's small things that make the difference. They put it all into place. You know, it's a small little adjustment, and it makes it work all around. Yeah. So this could be a song you could play at the end of a movie. Like the end of like I could see this at the end of 500 Days of Summer, or romantic comedy in that way. Like for millennials now, I mean, this is that kind of vibe. Are you like sending your stuff out to are there people who are reaching out to use your stuff for movies, or like is that starting to happen? Are you sensing that you want to put yourself out more? Because you're a shy guy, man. You're not. From what my experience with you, you're not really like, take a look at me. It's more, you're more like, let my work speak for itself. So yeah, what are you finding now that is the next thing you need to do as an artist? Yeah,
I just got to keep on putting myself out there, getting support from all the fans. Thank you everyone in the chat who's liking the video.
Yeah.
Liking the song.
Yeah, don't just like my video that you're watching now. Go and like that video as well. Absolutely. And subscribe to Alex's channel as well. Yeah. How often are you putting out music now, do you find? Are you more prolific now than you were before, or has the COVID thing kind of slowed you down a little bit as well? Are you less inspired or more inspired?
The COVID thing has actually inspired me more just because I have more time. I'm obviously not at my job, which involves outdoor screenings with huge gatherings of people. So that's a great help in letting me be creative. Using I mean, it's great to just have a lot of free time in general, to be honest. Yeah.
All right. Well, what do you think about these two stories we talked about today? What's your feeling about a Scarface remake? I mean, do you remember the Scarface movie? Have you seen the Scarface movie? Is this something in your periphery at all?
Yeah, I think I saw the '83 Scarface as a teenager. So like 2 years ago. My dad showed it to me, and I liked it. I mean, it seems like a typical teenage boy movie.
Right. Oh, teenage boy movie. Yes.
Yeah. I think
we act the fool. Yes.
Yeah. I think with Luca coming on, that'd be interesting. I mean, I'm hoping Tilda Swinton plays Scarface. That'd be crazy.
Oh my God. That would be insane. That would be insane. But I'm down with it. I'm here for it.
I don't know if like the studio would necessarily allow that, but I mean, that's an easy Oscar play there. But yeah,
but what about Luca Guadagnino getting involved? Because this is an independent film director. This is an Italian film director.
Right.
He did a gay drama here in Call Me by Your Name. He did the Suspiria horror remake. Like, do you think he's the right choice for this? And does your mind all of a sudden skew completely to the left when you hear the Coen brothers are involved as the foundation for the script and Guadagnino?
I mean, Guadagnino, he seems like a journeyman to me in a way, because he's kind of working in different, well, I guess he only has the horror movie that's out of his usual romantic, maybe erotic romantic dramas. And so, I mean, he can probably, I can only imagine how rated R this movie is going to be with his sensibilities. So, I mean, his involvement makes me excited. I have not seen Suspiria yet. That runtime kind of intimidates me. And so.
But you saw Midsommar, didn't you?
I did. And
that's
I just
a long
watched
runtime as well.
Yeah. And I watched Seven Samurai for the first time.
Oh, good. 3 hours of Seven Samurai. That's great.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited about indie directors getting their breaks, or more mainstream breaks, I'd say.
Yeah.
So
that's great. Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to see if the EV actually stays on, because I mean, this has gone through a rotating number of directors,
right? And
Fuqua being the most recent one. I'll be honest with you, I haven't been the biggest fan of the last 2 films of Fuqua's, so I didn't like that Magnificent Seven remake. I thought that was terrible. So him moving off the project, I'm okay with. And Guadagnino is such an interesting left field choice that it makes me even more interested. Like, what if this is an introspective, intelligent approach to this idea of Scarface, this idea of a young immigrant coming into the country, becoming a drug lord or whatever, or maybe it's another path that they take to become the head of something. Like that would be fascinating to see, a more introspective, intelligently well-written script that explores that possibility. And don't forget, Oliver Stone wrote the original Scarface script. So maybe there's another Oliver Stone there to write this for the current time. So we shall see. All right, Alex, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time for stopping in, my man.
Of course. Thank you for having me on, Rocha. This is really nice to catch up with you. And
you too.
I'm really appreciative of you. Oh my gosh, I can't even speak. It's so early. How do you do this, Rocha?
It's because I'm an early riser. I'm doing it, but I too am. I've gotten to that point where talking a lot in the morning. I'm drinking more water than I ever did before to keep the throat wet. So I understand, my man. But yeah, please go and follow Alex there on all his social media. You see it right there, right below him, Alex Marzoña, and then Marzoña as well over there on Instagram. And of course, go and subscribe to his YouTube. Go enjoy Cherry Blossom. Go and give it some love. And hey, do something positive today. Share it on your social media as well, and tag Alex so that people make it. You never know who that could be connected to someone that they know that could hear Alex's music and want to use it in an independent film or a small film. And then Alex, gets a little bit of ducats for his music as well, but gets more exposure to his talent and, creates even more music that you can enjoy in the future. Alex, you're amazing. It's great to see you, my man. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Rocha. I'll see you hopefully soon when this is all over.
Hopefully, virtually or otherwise. I agree. Take care, my man.
You too. See ya.
See ya. All right, that was Alex Marzoña. Such a great cat in my world. Such a really sweet soul. Listen, I know I'm a ball bust and argumentative at times guy, but I've also got a sweet vulnerability to me, and that guy like that. I just want to protect him and take care of him. And yeah, I'm gonna give him a little bit of shit, but I also want to make sure he's okay and gets through this world and also succeeds at what he's doing. So when he reached out to me, I was just over the moon about trying to get him on to the show. He's like, "What about next week?" I'm like, "Screw that! If the single drops today, come on today." So he was like, absolutely, I'll come on today. And thank God he took the time, because I think that's a really great song. And it sounds like for most of you all here in the chat, you enjoyed it as well. All right. So let me drop one thing that I want to let you all know about, because this is the part of the show with announcements, and also still going to talk a little bit more about other movie stuff. But the second thing I want to tell you all is, if you are a member of the Patreon, the John Rocha Patreon, www.patreon.com/John Rocha. Last night, we had a big hangout where we finally solidified the shows for the Patreon. I want to announce them now. There they are, right there. Criterion Corner, the Outpost, which will be essentially a mailbag show where you send in questions about the world of entertainment or anything you wanted me to talk about. Could be mental health, could be anything. The OK Corral, which is the debate show, and then the Outlaw Rides Again, which will be me doing commentary about one of my Schmodown matches with a patron interviewing me about the Schmodown match itself. And then right there below, join today at patreon.com/John Rocha. Go see the tiers. I'm going to finish out those tiers this morning. Andrew Hale's been very kind to kind of rejigger the wording of these tiers, and so they can be more clear for everybody, and you understand what you're getting, a bang for your buck. And in that way, I think it's a very positive thing, all the things that are happening. I want to thank Sean Barreto, Wiley Todd, Suge Knight, everybody, Brennan, who was there last night as well. Andrew Hale, Ben Wellington, Andrew G, all the great people who've showed up and had fun in my Patreon. They were the brain trust with me creating these shows. So every Friday you will get an episode of one of these shows. So let's say this week you'll get a Criterion Corner. Next week you'll get the Outpost. The week after that you get the OK Corral, and the week after that you get the Outlaw Rides again, and then it'll reset. And then on the 5th week, Criterion Corner. Then next week, the Outpost. So that's what it'll be. You'll get one new show every week, plus the 2 hangouts you'll get with the Outlaw Nation and the random watch-alongs, which I will record whenever I'm in the mood. Like, it could be 2 a.m. in the morning and I'm in the mood for Blade Runner. I'll just flip the mic on, record my commentary track to Blade Runner, then upload it for you all to enjoy. So those are the things that you get with the Patreon. So come aboard, go to the Patreon, see the multiple tiers, sign up now. Of course, the top levels are $50 and $100. At the $50 level, you get everything below the $50 level, and you get a half an hour with me every month where you can talk about your life, talk about your career, talk about any things that are like stopping you from going where you're going, or we're just going to sit down and shoot the shit about movies or about music or about the world or about politics, whatever you want to talk about. And the $100 level is an hour with me, an hour with the Outlaw, where you sit down with me. We can talk about whatever you want for an hour, and that's every month. You get 1 hour every month. We just sit down and talk about whatever it is you want to talk about and go through your world. So there you go, or go through my world, just hanging out with me for an hour individually. So go and look at the Patreon and see what works for you, and sign up for any of those tiers. And let's take this Patreon to the next level. Let's keep it going, because I've realized I got to create these shows for people who are taking the time to support me and support the Outlaw Nation, and hopefully that will increase, and then you all will enjoy the shows and tell other people to come and enjoy these shows on the Patreon. So it's for patrons only. So there you go. All right, that's the announcement I wanted to make there. Once again, thanks to Alex Marzoña, and thanks to everybody who helped me out last night, as I mentioned, creating these shows and locking them down, and they're going to be producing the shows for me as well as we do them. So good stuff all around. Great stuff, I think, for me personally, all around. Reginald says, I want Scott Eastwood in a Western movie called Outlaw. Okay, no, not Scott Eastwood, for God's sakes. Here we go. Andrew Hill says, yeah, the $5 tier will be the mailbag show. At the $10 tier, you get the debate show, which is the OK Corral. So how that's going to work is that we pick a topic, and then you don't know which side of the debate you're going to be on until right before the show starts. So you have to prepare both sides of the debate in just the chance that you just so you're prepared to debate either side. And I decide at the last minute what side you're going to be on that topic. Criterion Corner is at the $15 level. The Criterion Corner is at the $10 level as well, and that's me breaking down one Criterion title and the special features on every episode. And then at the $15 level is the interview watch along for the Schmodown, where you get to interview me about a Schmodown match as we're reliving it and watching it in there. So, all right. Thank you to Andrea for putting that up there. And thanks to everybody who's supporting the Outlaw Nation already. And thanks to all of you who are going to be supporting the Outlaw Nation in the future. All right. Let's move on to my next announcement. And I should welcome on my next guest. She is the moderator, or I would say the host and moderator, and all-around queen of Schmobates. She hosts that over there with she also is one of the co-hosts of Chill to Action, a lady who I got to know initially in a opposite sides of the fence type of situation there between the Outlaw and Action Army, but someone I've grown to appreciate and enjoy her work as she builds her own resume and builds her own sort of, for lack of a better term, carbon footprint in this sphere, in this punditry sphere, and in the sphere of the Schmodown. You all know her as let's see I think I got a picture for her. Hold on a sec. Yeah, you know her as Alex Shashek. I hope I'm saying that right. I've never actually said her last name, so I'm sure she'll correct me if I'm saying it wrong. But let's bring her on now, onto the Outlaw Mornings with the Outlaw. Alex, how are you? What's going on?
Did I
get it right?
Hi, John. Yeah, it's pronounced Shashek, but yes.
Shashek, okay. Like Shawshank Redemption, but without the end.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. That's definitely not the first time I've heard that comparison. That's for sure.
Well, I'm nothing if not cheesy. How are you doing? What's going on?
I'm doing good. I'm surrounded by my cats. If you do hear a bunch of meows, heads up. They're very loud.
Okay.
They like attention, and I'm not currently petting them, so That's how serious I'm taking this.
I like the setup though. You're completely different than the Schmobates. Schmobates, you're usually like leaning into. This is more of a level. Is this an adjustment you're trying to make in the presentation of how you're doing things?
Well, actually, I had just have a whole new setup. Lucas built me a whole new computer, and he built me a computer, and I have got a light and everything on sale. And I figure, I'm streaming now more than ever.
Yeah.
Cats, I swear. But so I stream like every day, every other day, it feels like. So Lucas was pretty much just like, I just want to get yourself an actual space, not just have your computer on the vanity. So
it makes a difference
if we can.
Yeah. Well, what do you tell the people? What are you working? What are all the things that you're doing right now? As I probably didn't name them all. So what is everything that you're working on now?
Well, I personally, my big focus really right now is in everything Schmodown. Honestly, right now I'm actually doing a little thing with Schmobates where we're doing our first tournament of winners.
Ooh.
And it's, a lot of really great people are going to be involved. I know.
This is some bullshit, but all right.
I know. No, I'm not. It's like, I am actually finding ways to kind of do better with the voting process because it is a little wonky. I'm not going to lie.
I'm going to Tanya Harding Bibbs and take a slot in this. Yeah, go ahead.
I would love to see you try. Yeah, but Bibbs is involved. Brendan Meyer is going to go up. It's going to be debating against Ben Bateman. That's going to be a fun time.
Wow.
So some of our best matches ever, and they've all have done really, really good. So they have some of the best, most viewed, most voted on debates. And so I'm excited to kind of see them actually go head to head. I mean, it's just like yourself, like you and Bibbs. That was like such a fantastic debate. I mean, going against other really great debaters, that's all I want to see. I just love to watch people fight, at the end of the day.
Yeah, fair point. What else have you got going on there? Because you're doing the chill to action stuff still as well. Is that right? Or are you moving away from that a little bit more?
Well, personally, I'm not involved in chill to action all that much. I just want to let you know.
I've seen you on there. That's why I mentioned it. Yeah.
Yeah, every once in a while I am on, just depending on the guests. But Chill to Action is actually specifically run by Danielle Ramirez, as well as Paul Denuzio, PLD, as he likes to call himself.
Yep.
But yeah, they're definitely in charge of that show. So if I'm ever on that show, fingers crossed, it is at their blessing.
Okay.
So if we're doing a little interview with any Schmodown competitor or whatever it may be. Actually, next Monday we're going to be having the promoter, the big man himself. It's not Christian Harloff, even though we have had him on. It is actually Eric Rodriguez. So arguably the one everyone loves.
Nerd Chronic. Hell yeah. And are you doing anything else? I know you have a show with Drew, with Video Drew.
Yeah.
What's that one?
Yeah, so on Tuesdays we're doing Cinema Bias. So it's a show we really kind of dive into personal biases when it comes to films. So obviously growing up, you grow up in a certain film environment where people are recommending movies to you, where you're told, don't watch those movies, that kind of thing. So you kind of grow up with a certain bias surrounding certain genres, directors, whatever it may be. And we kind of dive into that. What makes us have those biases and what can we do to kind of break down those biases to really expand our watchability towards a lot of genres or whatever it might be that we might have not come across before. So she introduced me to a few David Cronenberg movies. I introduced her to some musicals, An American in Paris, which I know you liked. I love that musical. So good. I watched Video Drone for the first time. I never saw.
Sorry.
I never saw a David Cronenberg movie until that. I never saw a David Lynch movie until that.
Right.
So she's definitely expanding my idea of what it takes to watch a movie and not to cringe in terror every time this stuff comes up.
Yeah. Well, she has some interesting choices for sure, Video Drew. So you're in good hands, but also very interesting hands to see what's going to come up with. But I like that you're also kind of exposing her to stuff that maybe she hasn't seen or hasn't looked at. Because she is part of the Schmodown and she does know a lot about movies, but there are some blind spots in Video Drew's rearview mirror with movies. So I've seen them come up, and so it's good to create a show where you both are kind of like exposing each other to your blind spots and looking at stuff. All right, is there anything else that you're working on as well?
Honestly, no, not really. I was completely terrified that she had not seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
As a woman of Southeast Southeast Asian descent. I was
Oh.
like, what? What? Suddenly, I like my nails grew like 3 inches. I was like, excuse me, what do you mean you've not seen this movie? It's fantastic, and I haven't seen Pulp Fiction before, so
Whoa! Oh man, that's even more.
Yeah, I've never seen it. It's
Okay.
something I've been avoiding for a while, just because everyone says it's like the best movie ever, and I'm like, but is it?
Well, this is what I like about Alex, and
Yeah.
I'll tell you the honest truth. Alex is rebellious. I gravitate to people who are rebellious, who are like, I'm not going to do what you tell me to do, or I'm not going to do what the herd says I should do. Occasionally, yes, I'll do that, but not usually. So I like that about Alex. So her saying, like, I don't want to go see it because everyone's telling me how great it is. I'll get to it on my own time. But in this situation, you're doing it because it's part of the show. So you're like, you can put that down a little bit and see if you like the movie or not. I'll tell you the honest truth. I don't love it as much as everybody else does myself. I know people worship at the altar of that movie, but I'm more a Reservoir Dogs or Kill Bill fan than I am a Pulp Fiction fan. So I feel you.
My mom's a podiatrist, so I've seen a lot of bad feet in my day. And I just do not need another close-up of Uma Thurman's ugly feet. I just don't. Don't. There's just, her bunions are so bad. And I'm just like, I just do not need to see them again. And I do have a problem with Quentin Tarantino as a director. And I mean, like, you know more than anyone just how he's a very particular director and his very particular film style and everything. I just feel like he has it's my hot take here that he definitely has a problem with female characters.
Yes, I said that. Haley Fouch reached out to me one day after we did Pulp Fiction. I think it was it was one of the other
Bastards.
I think it was. Yeah, and I talked about it on the Cinephiles, and I said how I'm very uncomfortable with how he treats his actresses, how he does things in his movies, and how he portrays the women in his movies. And although I do love Kill Bill because she's badass in the movie, when you read that New York Times article from Uma Thurman, that interview, when you watch that video of her smashing that car into the tree with no seatbelt on and everything, you're just like, what the F is wrong with you to do that? And the fact that you wanted your hands to be the hands choking Diane Kruger in Inglourious Basterds and legitimately choking her. What are you working out here that people, no one seems to be calling you out on it. And he needs to be called out way more than he is at this point, in my opinion. And same thing in I hated that in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as well. I didn't think at the end that those women were way more brutally beaten than the dude was. And I'm like, those women weren't even like 100% on board with doing what they were doing. So these are the things that I think need to be explored and talked about more and more with him. And we don't just get lost in the idea that, Tarantino makes good movies. But there's more going on here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not only that, I mean, absolutely. I mean, like he makes out with the foot at one point, one of his movies, with one of his produced movies. But anyway, something I totally agree with everything you're saying. He definitely, like I said, he does have a problem, but every single female character that has like shown up on screen either dies or is tortured. I mean, or maybe like less than 5 female characters actually survive without being harmed in some way. If you go through the entire movie, I mean, like I think it was in Jackie Brown where obviously not Jane Fonda, Bridget Fonda's character, she's literally just shot in a parking lot at a mall parking lot just because he was like, Robert De Niro's character is like, she's annoying.
Right.
Shoot her.
That's the only reason to shoot her.
and like, what's the purpose, honestly? Those moments. So I'm really excited to kind of dive into him as a director and, just kind of dive into this movie in particular, because it is one of arguably his most iconic films.
Yes.
And again, arguably one of his best films as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, see, those are the kind of takes that I have been watching Alex do over the last few weeks on these shows and on the Schmobates. And I liked the fact that she brings a strength and an energy and a combative energy when she needs to have it into things, and also like a joy and an enjoyment of films and the medium of film and a passion for it as well. And that's why last week we were having a text or a Facebook conversation about things going on with the channel, with the show. And it occurred to me that I need to have a female energy on the Outlaw Nation, that the Outlaw Nation needs to be needs to expand, needs to explore, needs to branch out. And so during the course of the conversation with Alex, and I was kind of nervous to ask her this, but I asked her if she'd be willing to become the permanent co-host or special guest of Mornings with the Outlaw. She will be on every show. And Alex responded in classic Alex fashion, abso-effing-lutely. So I was like blown away by that. And I guess I got to ask you, so I guess that's the announcement now. We can say Alex will, going forward, Alex Shashek will be my co-host on Mornings with the Outlaw. Every morning that we do a show, we will talk about all this stuff and go back and forth about it. And I'm incredibly honored that you said yes. And I'm looking forward to working with you because I can already tell there's good chemistry here and good back and forth.
It's almost like, you know, we like arguing and debating. You know? A little bit, maybe a smidgen, right? Maybe.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Whether it's in a bar or on camera, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It's a vibe. Yeah, but seriously, I am so excited to do this with you. I am incredibly honored. You're one of those iconic, you know, people in Schmodown, you know, and I'm like obsessed with Schmodown. And I've listened to, I think probably almost every episode of Cinephiles. Like I said,
wow.
I know that's why I know for a fact it was Inglourious Basterds, not Pulp Fiction. Because I was like, I remember driving home from work and I was like, I remember that exact memory of thinking about that. And I was like, they haven't talked about this topic. And then 5 minutes later, you do talk about that topic. Anyway, But yeah, I'm pretty excited. I mean, it's the Outlaw, guys. You know, I love it.
I appreciate that. A lot of people are, responding positively to this. Yeah, I think this is a very real possibility now to have Alex on the Cinephiles down the road at some point. That would be a lot of fun.
Don't cry.
Well, no, seriously, we'll see how we vibe. I think we're going to be fine vibing together. So at that point, I think Steve will have no problem bringing you on. You're just going to have to select like which maybe 3 movies that you'd be open to covering with us, because when we cover stuff, it's extensive. It'll be like hours. So
literally
that. So.
any movie.
Okay, no, you've got to pick 3. You've got to pick 3. Just good. We like to cater to our guests when we do, because we just recorded Major League with Kay Cannon. We did League of Their Own with her, and so we had said we wanted to do Major League, but we weren't going to do it until Kay was available, and the COVID-19 situation put her Cinderella film on delay for now, and so we recorded an episode with her from Maine. So we have her talking, all 3 of us talking Major League. So we like to have people come on and have movies that they enjoy, because that brings out their passion, and they're more than willing to sit with us for 2 or 3 hours if it's a movie they actually love and enjoy and go through everything. So that's how we do things there. There we go. She is so intelligent. Oh, okay. I like that. Oh, Alex schooling Rocha. Oh, okay. I like. See, this is good. This is what I want. I like this. I like this overall. So, and this is what it'll look like. Jake mocked up one for today, I think. Let me see if I've got it somewhere here to put up on the screen. There it is. Boom. It'll look like that going forward. Mornings with the Outlaw with special guest Alex Shashek. Every morning she'll be on the show talking about all kinds of things on all the topics that we cover here, and she will have input on the topics that we cover. I'm not the only one that exists in the world, and of course I do run the channel and I host the show, but Alex, I trust Alex's instincts, and I think Alex will bring a new flavor to the show and new topics that we might want to discuss here on the show. What do you think about the Scarface stuff? Do you have any thoughts on that? Any idea? Like Luca Guadagnino taking on Scarface is very strange.
I had I honestly wanted to jump in the StreamYard link early, just on the chance you might potentially bring me on for that segment.
If I saw you, I might have. Yeah.
I have so many thoughts about that one in particular. I know this is we're not going to go on for too much longer, but he's definitely one of my favorite directors making film right now, like original stories right now. And, obviously his relationship with Tilda Swinton, I mean, iconic right there. Yeah. I think this is a fantastic, obviously, like you said earlier, Scarface is not an original film. It is a remake. And, I'm okay with, I love remakes. I mean, some of my favorite movies of all time are remakes. And I honestly think my money is actually thinking they're going to really focus on like Eastern European like mafia potentially, that kind of vibe situation. I don't think they're going to lean so much into the story of the that kind of immigration and the cartel process. So maybe I'm thinking just more on the mafia, that idea of the mafia side as well, and you know, coming in from Eastern Europe, and like you mentioned with potential, like I think you said something about Chernobyl. The
Chernobyl, the creator of Chernobyl,
Chernobyl, yes, Chernobyl, not Chernobyl, but him possibly being involved to the extent that he is, you know, it could have that kind of Eastern European kind of vibe tendency where everything's a little green, like has that kind of color tone and that kind of really, I don't want to say morose vibe, like it's such a dark show. It's so terrifying.
It
which
is very
I feel
dark.
like only Eastern European movies that focus on Eastern European mafia or that kind of vibe really kind of focuses on.
Right on. And what do you feel about? Let's get into the Johnny Depp thing for a couple of minutes before we have to wrap up the show because I got an interview at 9:30. But Johnny Depp, would you want to see him in the Pirates? Like, or do you think it's a stupid idea to bring him back at this point because of all the drama off screen with him?
Honestly, I think the drama is not really a thing anymore, personally. I say that because also it's really kind of working out in his favor, everything that's going on right now, obviously. Now, I obviously don't know the full story between him and Amber Heard and the allegations going both ways. But right now, there's, she's being sued for libel and saying, false accusations, things like that, and falsifying evidence. And, that's a whole situation right there. That's opening a Pandora's box, which we do not want to get into. And I don't want to blame how badly Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald on him.
Yeah, I don't think that's on him. Yeah.
Because honestly, I thought he was one of the best parts of that movie.
Sure.
And I thought he was like honestly the best part of the movie, but the movie that's not all that great in general, but he's really solid, I feel like.
Yeah.
But him returning to the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, I love him in this role. I think he needs to be involved in some way. It's just he's been doing it for almost 20 years, and maybe it's time to put the hat away, so to speak. Maybe put the dreads away.
I feel like
in some way.
Yeah, I feel like he could be like I mentioned, he could be the Barbossa character. That would be interesting. Have him pop in and pop out. That would be, I think, better than to have him be like a central part of the story, which he was in the fifth one. He's a central part of the story in the fifth one. So much so that they sidelined Kira and Orlando for the most part in that movie. So that's something to consider as well. But yeah, I'm with you. I think it's time for him to hang it up, and I think people are upset about him being a part of it. So why take the slings and arrows? It just doesn't make any sense in that. Andrew Hale wants to know, is there a Western nickname for Alex? Well, we got to come up with one, I think. Now that she's going to come on the Outlaw Nation, Mornings with the Outlaw, she's going to have to, maybe someone will come up with a good one, and if she likes it, we'll go with that.
I'm sorry. Is Mac Daddy not good enough? Andrew? Okay, whatever.
Sheriff Mac Daddy? I like Sheriff Mac Daddy. I'm down with that. Sean wants to know, can we get Alex on some of the Patreon shows? It'll be up to Alex if she wants to come on the Patreon shows. I'd love to have her on any of those Patreon shows. So that would be a lot of fun. I mean, her interviewing me for a Schmoedown match that we're rewatching together, that could be a lot of fun as well. I'm sure she wouldn't pull back on some of those questions and criticisms.
Questions.
A lot of questions.
We'll be sad.
All right. Well, let's wrap up there. Mornings with the Outlaw. This particular episode, course-altering, life-changing episode today. And I can't thank Alex Marzoña enough for coming on to preview his new song. Please go and subscribe to him and go and follow him there. And I have to thank Alex Shashek for coming on here as well. And I'm excited to go forward with that. Wait. I messed up there. Where is it? I'm still learning to do these things. There it is. I'm excited to have Alex coming forward here on Mornings with the Outlaw. So it's locked down. Me and her co-hosting the show every morning that we do a show, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at this point. And right there, you can follow her on Twitter, on her Twitter handle right there, real_Alex Mack. Get those numbers up. She has like 200, 300 followers. Get her over 1,000 by the end of the day. Get her to 2,000 by the end of the weekend. Give her some love, for God's sakes. Spread it all around and share this episode as well. Like and share this episode on your social media. And I will also be announcing it officially on the social media after I'm done with my interview here coming up in the next 5 minutes in there. So thank you, Alex. I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be fun.
Oh, thank you so much, John. This is going to be a hoot and a half. It will be. It will be.
Hoot and a half. And don't forget about the Patreon. As we said, the new shows that are coming for the Patreon. Put it up real quick. The Criterion Corner, The Outpost, those, the OK Corral, and the Outlaw Rides again. And of course, Showdown Watch-Alongs and the regular movie Watch-Alongs. And the 2 hangouts you get, one on camera, one in the Discord channel. So all of that going down here for the Outlaw Nation. So, all right, that's it. We got to go. Love to all of you. And starting Monday morning, it's a new Mornings with the Outlaw. Get ready. We're going to have a lot of fun. Take care until then. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.